and that you need a government. You don't need a government. You know what the government does? The government has taken away the power of the individual to help one another. Because our world, our true world, is that we are helping one another, and we can govern ourselves together collectively for the better without a governing body. We are the governing body. So even on that basis, if they can get a person on welfare, if they can get a person on any kind of assistance, if they can get a person dependent, you know, even when you're employed, automatically you need to have a bank account, because if you want to get paid, that's the only way they'll pay you. So they just slot you in. If you don't stop agreeing, this is a part of it. This is how we take it back. And this is how we literally completely dismantle their reality.
That's a great point, and that also ties into what I wanted to say before in response to what Carissa said, and also Tom, about free will and timeline shuffling and creation. Like, yes, we need to utilize our free will, but most people don't really have free will, but they're under the illusion that they have free will, because they are mechanical, reactionary responses based on their conditioning and programming. And also the way this matrix works and these entities in the hyperdimensional overlords, like you said, Laura, they need our free will consent, right? This is the trap of agreement, right? And it's also from from a humanity's food perspective and consciousness is food. It is more nutritious food if we act out of a free will to align with their agenda, right? And it's not like this evil agenda people think of, Hitler or whatever. It's like, even what I see now, and people get very upset at me, government and politics. This whole hype here in California with Bernie Sanders, the savior image projected in all this worship and projections on this man, with this that creates all food and creates that, that manipulated free will choice to align with their agenda. Even from a basic 3D perspective, Bernie Sanders' socialist agenda ties in perfectly with the New World Order agenda. It's like the perfect prime setup. And like you said, government on the basic level is an iconic creation. People don't even question on the basic level the need for government. I've been living under these systems for so long that, people feel like somebody needs to be in control. There needs to be law and order. Everything falls apart, which just shows how people are removed from their own inner guidance, from their own divinity, from spirit, from nature, and project the need towards authority outside themselves. And talking back to the government topic and voting, when you vote, that's on a metaphysical level an agree to be ruled over. It's a trap of agreement. Very basic, right?
Yeah, plus you're saying you're aligning yourself with the person you're voting for, and nobody's perfect, and a lot of these politicians have engaged in God knows what, and you vote for a candidate who, they were a senator who voted to go to war, with Iraq, Afghanistan, and now they're running for president. You vote for them. It's like you're saying you support all of these things that they've, you know what I'm saying?
Bernard made the point earlier about the Bernie Sanders cult of personality. This video, and it really shows these people embedded in the matrix, where these, I guess you would call them real liberals, socialist collectivists, screaming and hurling and these are just kids. These are like 19, 20-year-old males screaming all this vulgar abuse at Donald Trump supporters. Now, both people, clearly to people like us, they're embedded in the matrix. It's the false left-right syndrome going on. But especially the socialist collectivist mindset that's been imbued in multiple generations by now. And to watch them just hurl other people that are stuck in the same matrix as them, that's a classic example of people who have allowed themselves to be plugged into this consciousness, where they've divested any responsibility for self-learning, for self-growth, for self-healing. And people allow themselves to be utilized in this fashion, where they become matrix sentinels. Oh, what do you mean you're not getting your child vaccinated? That your child's going to be everyone else's child. They allow themselves to be matrix sentinels. We see this all across the board. So when we get to that point where we're not going to worry about what we think, we're going to do things that are based on our own self-interest, that's when we really begin to make changes in our life. And then we begin to remove these archontic controlled people, all these matrix sentinels in our life, whether it's in the form of people, institutions, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a big part of the healing process, but that we have to be part of a herd. And the manipulation within us and the self-worth issues we have, we're manipulated into not being comfortable in our own. We're manipulated into not being content in our own solitude. We have to be around other people. We have to go along with what that we don't agree with it. Just we go along to get along. We lose ourselves in the process. So when we get to that baseline level of not giving a rip, that's when a lot of healing, a lot of growth, a lot of changes begin to take place.
I think we need to put in our mindset globally that we do not choose door number 1 or 2. Okay? It's not about voting this person or that. It's just maybe you shouldn't be voting, because that's like accepting a government body taking over your life, and their agreements become yours.
Yeah, well, that's part of the game as well.
And half the time, these politicians aren't even that smart. I think, you know, people just make them, they project onto them what they want to see.
They're not environmentalists. Again, just take out the government body, period. It's like, take out everything. Choose door number 3. Fuck it all. Make our own choices. I don't want their door number. They want me to believe that there are only 2 doors to choose from. They want me to believe I can only choose 1 or 2. And they hope that that little mind control trick they're doing on me is going to make me go, oh, that's the only choice I have in this reality. Well, you know what? Hey, I have door number 3. It's my door.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone else, but